All right, I'll go ahead and get this started. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. To kind of preface it here, or preface this, we will let's probably run about 45 minutes, and we will record everything. But currently during the webinar, everybody will be muted. At the end, though, we will go ahead and open this up for some questions. If your time is valuable, so if you have to cut out of here early, totally understand. Appreciate you showing up. But we will follow up with some email communication and a link to this recorded webinar. So if you do have to drop, no worries. We'll get you some follow up. So to jump into this, today's webinar, we're going to be talking about OneCloud's professional call center, cloud ready, scalable, and smart. It is a call center, but it does have a little flavor of contact center as well. To kind of break that down a little bit, there's a lot in the call center industry. You've got call centers, you've got contact centers, and then you have, or you have multi-channel contact centers, then you have omni-channel, and then you really dive into the CX. There's a lot of variety out there. I did a webinar not too long ago on our OneCloud CX solution. You can check that out. That is a over-the-top Cadillac, a lot of AI integration. So this one today is more small to medium enterprises. It can meet that higher level enterprise if needed, but there's a lot of variety, and I do plan on having a webinar coming up soon that will really delve into the different types of contact centers and integrations, and on top of that, price points, right? Because per seat cost when it comes to contact centers is really where the rubber meets the road. So to go ahead and jump into this, my name is Ben. My role within the organization is onboarding and product evangelism. I've been in the industry for about 3 weeks now, and it looks like I pretty much got it all kind of hammered out. I kind of know everything that's going on. They already got me doing webinars, but in all seriousness, I've been in customer service for about 25 years and in the telecommunications space for about 15, 16 years. I've learned a lot, especially with this organization, OneCloud. It's been an honor to work with this company and grow and learn from old school legacy telecom into cloud space where we are now. So it's been a great ride, ever evolving industry, and you never stop learning. But with that said, who is OneCloud? What is OneCloud? At OneCloud, we're passionate about making communication seamless and effective for you. OneCloud has been around for a minute, but it really traces its roots back to the mid 80s. During that time, there wasn't really a lot of variety in the telecom space. It's really one option, really. And as that was broken up and some variety came about, some folks came together and started dealing with installing on-premise phone systems and dealing with the structured cabling and all of that. And then it eventually evolved into our parent company, which is Telware. Telware is a mashup of telephones and software because as PBXs or telephone systems became more complicated or robust, you did still have your digital or analog type PBXs, but then voicemail got a lot more complicated. You had IVRs that needed to do everything, such as you call into a pharmacy to refill your prescription or something. So you needed software to actually drive that. And then eventually we evolved into OneCloud. OneCloud is a software development company with a focus or priority on the communication side. So we aren't just a software company that developed a communication software. There's a few out there. We come with that legacy knowledge and understanding of the technology. As we move through those phases from legacy on-prem PBXs to hosted and then cloud, we definitely learned a lot, especially about the gaps that existed in that transition. And some of those gaps were, faxing was a challenge. POTS lines are still a challenge. It's a really big thing right now. Microsoft Teams is also another big thing, and then mass notifications and other solutions. So our organization offers way more than just a professional contact center. We offer several solutions of contact centers, but we also offer UCaaS. We're a Microsoft Teams Operator Connect certified partner, as well as offering some faxing and even OneCloud Mobile, which is a really cool solution that we have. So with that said, I'll jump into the agenda here. So today we're going to talk about the professional call center, intelligent tools for outstanding service. What is OneCloud Professional Call Center? Some of the common challenges that you run into if you don't have a call center environment. Key benefits for optimizing your customer tools or customer experience with a professional call center. And then I'll run you through a quick demo of what our call center looks like, just to give you, a rundown of some of the flexibility that you have to not only improve your customer experience, but give you the analytics and the data that you need to make educated decisions on things like call volume, call history, and such. And then I'll touch base on a quick integration, just one of the success stories that we had using a basic Salesforce integration. I'll end that out with a quick transition on what it looks like to move over to any of our solutions, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. So to dive right in here, what is OneCloud's professional call center? So OneCloud's professional call center is a cloud-based system that connects businesses with customers via calls, SMS, and integrations. This streamlines communication. In turn, it's going to boost your efficiency and enhance your customer experience. So how does this help? With the contact center, with the call center, you're able to provide more of a seamless customer interaction, so that it allows you to unify your voice traffic, your chat traffic, or chat communications, and CRM data to keep all of that aligned. And by that, I essentially mean like every call or every chat, you can take that information and automatically log it into a CRM, capturing all of that in one touch point, and it eliminates a lot of the human interaction or the human touch points that can break communication or break some of that information that could be pertinent to a deal or a sale or even a service ticket. It scales with your business. So depending on your experience within, even a phone system, even within just a standard phone system, upgrading those systems or scaling them can be a challenge. We still have some customers who are on an older legacy Avaya system, and maybe they come to us and they say, hey, we need to add a new user. Well, the whole licensing model with Avaya changed, and maybe what used to be a $50 license is actually now a $1,000 upgrade because you have to go to a new version, and then you find out you don't have an additional card on your device, and now you have to upgrade some hardware, and then a whole bunch of labor gets tied into that. So that can definitely be a challenge. Cloud-based and remote ready, it's 2025. Everybody's looking for a remote position or even a hybrid position. So having the flexibility to just get somebody up and ready, hire them, is not as challenging as it used to be. Now I essentially literally just need to send a welcome email. They can log in and they're pretty much ready to rock and roll. And then lastly, actionable insights and analytics. So being able to track performance, call trends, and customer sentiment, which is a really big one, right? To be able to look at the calls coming into a queue or to a particular agent and break them down by sentiment. Do I have a lot of positive interactions going on? Do I have negative interactions? And then having the transcription of that information is also quite useful. Moving on to bringing your call center to the cloud, again, it's 2025, right? So having the ability to work from anywhere and having that flexibility is huge. And not only having that flexibility, but being able to track agents' performance, making sure that they're adhering to their schedules, making sure that we're hitting all of our metrics or our SLAs. And, again, having that flexibility of, here we have weather-related events where maybe we have to close the office for the day. Everybody can just work from home, boot up their laptop, and get going. A benefit to that too is, back in, what was it, 2020 when COVID hit, everybody jumped off that cliff and quickly found out that a lot of residential data was not really built or able to handle that much bandwidth for everybody working back home at that time. So that's improved greatly since there as well. Staying connected so you can chat, file share. You have live coaching tools, so supervisors are able to live monitor from anywhere. The real-time oversight, again, you have that real-time reporting such as wall boards and things along those lines. And then you have the added security and compliance. And by that, most remote employees in the past, we're talking not even 5 years ago, to work from home, most of the time you had to have a VPN connection to connect back to your office. And now everything pretty much resides in the cloud, right? So all of your voice traffic goes to the cloud. Your CRM tools are in the cloud. A lot of your documents were maybe within SharePoint or even OneDrive. So you don't have to deal with the logistics of having to connect to a brick and mortar location. Boosting Teams' performance. Faster response times, having the ability to have flexibility within your call queue. So intelligent call routing, offering things such as queue callback or even failovers or options before a call even enters into a queue to maybe route that call elsewhere to maybe a voicemail or something. Smarter decisions give you the real-time analytics to help managers and optimize staffing and efficiency. And this also helps with the CRM integration as well. So if you're logging all of that communication, automatically pushing notes and maybe cases and things along those lines directly to your CRM, you don't only have to leverage the information that's in your contact center, but you can also leverage that communication and those touch points within your CRM. And then ultimately, personalized interactions with the CRM integrations. And this is aligned with screen pops, right? So maybe when a customer calls in, you can pop that contact card. So when I go to open that call, I already know a good bit of information about the individual calling in, and I can make that more of a personalized experience. Nothing more frustrating than having to get their number, not hearing it right, and then asking for their number again, and then, you know, can you repeat your name for me? Trying to capture as much information. It gets a little futile. So having that popped up is a lot easier. So some common challenges. So costly pitfalls and painful gaps. So limited analytics, I kind of touch base on that one, is a huge piece of it. Without real-time and historical analytics, businesses will lack the visibility into call trends, agent performance, missed calls, and this hinders efficiency. Now, before I kind of get into all of this, I want to kind of point out that you don't need to be a big company or a big organization to have a call center type platform. I've seen organizations that might have 5 to 7 employees, and you still can utilize that call center type dynamic to change the way that calls are flowing in, to make sure that they are coming in efficiently, to provide different hold musics and greetings and things along those lines, and also gauge your agent's performance and make sure that you're applying the resources to the right groups and queues. So a lot of companies want to do more with less. And again, it really depends on the application. You don't need a $190 a seat contact center license for something like this. It's much more affordable within this space, and you don't need to be a large corporation to have some of the tools and features that come with a call center. Adherence blind spots, this is a really big one. Without proper tracking, managers struggle to monitor breaks, unproductive time, and agent availability, leading to staffing efficiencies and also communication breakdowns, which means that your customers' calls aren't being answered efficiently. My personal roots are landed within call centers. I started my time back in AOL many years ago, worked for an organization called Sears Credit Card Services, and I also worked for a place close by here called Aon Hewitt. When you work at a call center, they have some stats that they want to hold you to. One is, what is your average call time, right? They want to keep your calls at a certain amount of time. That ensures that you're going to answer all the calls that come into the queue. But then you're also supposed to be scheduled from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You get 2 15-minute breaks and then a 30-minute lunch. And you want to try and adhere to that as much as possible. Some organizations have a much more robust workforce that'll allow you to schedule breaks and lunches. But let's say you might not need anything that fancy. You still want to make sure that your agents are logged in and they're taking calls and they're available. Not having the visibility of, let's say, you got 10 people on your team, you pull up and look at this as schedule adherence, and you see that, maybe 8 of them are taking their breaks and lunches on time, but 2 of those reps are actually, they're taking an extra 15 to 20 minutes a day. That definitely can add up and also help you, better understand. Is this a coaching opportunity? Are they slacking off and not doing anything, or maybe they need some additional help, and you might want to get a colleague to give them some additional mentoring. This can really scale up though. So I mentioned that I work for an organization called Hewitt. At that time, they were the largest largest HR outsourcing firm for open enrollment. So at one point in the year, they'd ramp up to over 580 agents. This call center was in the old IBM building. The building itself was 1 million square feet, and the agent floor was absolutely massive. I mean, you could stand up one side and barely see somebody on the other side. But let's say you take 580 agents, And then, everybody is taking an additional 20 to 15 minutes per day. That can really add up. In a year, that can be a total of 96 days of lost time. So 96 total days of lost time, or over 2,000 hours of revenue or payroll that you're paying to agents that are not actually logged in and doing their jobs. And in turn, that translates into your customers' calls not being answered as efficiently as possible. So having the ability to look at their inherent, to make sure that they're tracking that is huge. And then without advanced call flows, you deal with things like poor customer experience. Um, Having the ability to mitigate high wait times, maybe setting that pre-queue option to roll that call elsewhere, or even offering a queue callback is definitely imperative. And then lastly, lax integrations. Without a professional call center, lack of CRM integration prevents features like click to dial. Seems pretty simple, but that can really improve and speed up certain processes. Automatically logging calls within notes, possibly putting in links to the call recordings, and screen pops. Not having some of those features really adds um, draws on the agent's time as they're manually processing all of these different tasks and actions while they're doing their job throughout the day. So moving on from there, some of the key benefits: optimizing your customer experience with robust tools, reporting features, and more. So as I alluded to, cloud-based and fully remote, this gives you the ability to have your agents work from anywhere. As I mentioned, with some of the older on-prem PBXs, or even cloud-based, or not cloud-based, sorry, hosted, you do have some more challenges that are associated with adding agents or adding seats, and then getting those agents up and running. There's a tech that's back in our engineering team that if you mention to him setting up a remote via phone, he will probably run out of this office kicking and screaming. Some of the challenges that align with that is, a physical phone that you have to take home. Let's go again back to 2020. Those phones, they needed things like power. So everybody was running around trying to find PoE injectors. At that point in time was probably one of the busiest times that we've had in a very long time, because a lot of these legacy systems needed heavy configuration. So not only did you have to take this phone home that needed an additional device, but if you were using a web phone or the physical phone, they actually had to manually be configured. That means you had to put IP information into it, proxy information that would allow that device to register to your PBX. But then again, those devices had to connect to a physical PBX that is within your brick and mortar location. In turn, now you have to have an IT team program your router, and that router needs to be able to port forward that information to your on-premise server, or even your on-premise, analog phone system or digital phone system. And there was a lot to be able to configure that. So with this system, essentially all you need to do is we can spin up a new seat for you in a matter of 10 minutes. All we really need to know is the agent's name, what queues do they need to be part of. And a lot of that, let's say you're reusing extensions, an administrator or a supervisor has the ability to do that. As I said, it's simple as sending a welcome email. And then that agent gets that email, they fill out the information that's in it, and they are logged in. And then at that point, they're pretty much ready to rock and roll. CRM integrations: connect your CRM for instant customer insights, call logging, and call recording. So I will show you towards the end of this just a kind of a brief example of what that looks like. With this solution, just a standard small API integration that allows you to connect to maybe a homegrown CRM. Those are things that we can develop as well, or even we have some native solutions that are actually baked in and live within Salesforce or Zoho or HubSpot. Having that information, being able to track that data is huge, especially nowadays. We're talking about um, as the industries change, a lot of people are offering SaaS or software as a service, and maintaining relationships and understanding your customer base is imperative. And a lot of that ties back to, in my CRM, I'm tracking how many service tickets is this person dealing with? How many orders are they processing? Are they using my software? How much of my software are they using? And what are our touch points? How many times is this person calling in? So being able to capture all those key points of customer interaction within your organization, not only just in your communication solution, is imperative. So integrations as a whole, which I will have a webinar coming up next week on integrations, is a huge benefit to better assisting your customers. Real-time data and customer reporting, so being able to optimize coaching, supervision, and agent support with real-time insight, call trends, and KPIs to drive smarter data-driven decisions. In our center in the back, we do have a service team, and on that back board is a wall board, which I'll also show you, of all of the individuals within the team, and you can look at how many calls that they've taken for the day. We can look at calls waiting, all of that information. When it is visible to the entire team all at once, a supervisor generally doesn't need to go over and give anybody a hard time. That team has its own built-in camaraderie, and if Bill's taking less calls than Jeff, somebody's going to say something. Hey, why are you taking less calls? They're going to hold themselves accountable. But having the ability to have this cloud or remote, I can look at this information from anywhere. So it doesn't actually need to be that brick and mortar site. And then from a coaching perspective, I want the ability to look at those stats on both the queue level and an agent level, and then maybe monitor calls live or pull some call reports on that. So having all of that allows me to make better decisions, not only for staffing, but to better coach and service my team and my customers. And lastly is transcription and sentiment. Unlock powerful insights with call transcription, sentiment analysis to enhance training, resolve issues, and elevate service quality. So who doesn't want to have the ability to go in and look at all of the calls that are coming into their organization and say, hey, out of this queue or this queue, what is the sentiment? How do these customers on average feel when they're communicating with us and engaging our team? Is it usually a positive interaction? Is it usually a negative interaction? Is a negative action occurring towards the end of the call, or is the whole thing just a hot pile of garbage? So being able to go in, look at that, and even the transcription to look at where those triggers might have been is a huge benefit for any organization to better understand, our actions or our flow of the way that calls come in. Are they getting upset because there may be high hold times, or maybe we have some CSRs that are poor, or maybe we need to work a little bit better on our product and our service delivery to provide a better experience because we have a high influx of negative type calls coming in. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the call center here and share an agent. Just give me 1 second. Kind of reshare my screen. All right. So I just wanted to start with a basic agent view. There's not a whole heck of a lot to see in regards to what agents are going to utilize. One thing to know is that we have a lot of different solutions. So we have cell phone apps, we have this portal where agents can log in and see a lot of information. We also have OneCloud Connect, which is a single pane of glass that allows you to do all of your communication, all of your calls, all of your video conferencing, which is what we actually happen to be on now, and interact with the call center. And then even solutions like OneCloud Mobile or what's baked into Salesforce, where essentially agents can log in and out of queues right within the Salesforce application. So depending on the deployment for your organization, which is usually determined upon the assessment piece, is what tool that you might engage with your team. And I wanted to show you this one just because it has a little bit more information. So from an agent perspective, up here at the top, you'll see that you have a lot of different information that ties into the UCaaS seat that comes along with this. But for now, I'm just going to focus on the call center. As an agent, you have the ability to see what calls that you're involved in, right? So here's the call queues that the agent's in. You understand the ring type. I'll dig into ring type in a minute. What your priority is, potentially wrap-up time, and how many calls are waiting. Depending on the deployment, you also have the ability to log in or out of queues individually. So we can grant that right to an agent, but supervisors also have the ability to log agents in or out of queues. you might have an SLA or a certain requirement to a particular customer, or maybe you want to up your standards on maybe calls coming in, you want to get them answered faster. That gives you the ability to shift your resources or the agents that are assigned to a particular group to have more bodies to answer those calls that are coming in. The agent also has the ability to look at some stats, right? What is the past 24 hours? What do my calls look like? How am I doing for outbound calls and inbound calls? You have the ability to look at your history, your statistics. This is always a big competition, again, depending on your team. This is a sales team, higher call volume, the more calls you get out, the more chance you might have to have a sale. So this gives you more detail. And then you have your login method. Again, depending on your deployment and what device that you're going to utilize will really depend on what you see here. But then again, as I said, it gives you the flexibility. So if you like using a physical desk phone, you can do that. If you just want a USB headset and the Connect client, you can do that as well. And then above that, you'll see that I'm currently offline in a meeting. Tying into the schedule adherence piece, an agent does have the ability to adjust this. So I can say that I'm on lunch or I'm in something other, or then I could go online. So if a call comes in with the agents out of queue, the call will end up coming into the queue. Go ahead and throw one downstream here so you can see it calling. Oh, that was the wrong one. Hold on here. That was on me. My bad. Dave and Buster's called me right before I jumped on here. Should be coming through. Yep. So now you can see that the call's waiting because I'm in an offline status. It's not going to actually offer the call to me until I go online. But a supervisor also has the ability to track the adherence and how many times these agents are logging in and out of queue, because again, that's really an important piece. To show you more here, I want to really dive into the supervisor view. So let me pull up the supervisor. So a call center supervisor has a little bit more power and control over their team. And depending on the group or depending on the deployment, you also have the ability to differentiate the data sets that are displayed to your supervisors. So maybe you have a scenario where 50% of your group is sales and 50% of your group is service. It would probably not benefit the sales team to see the stats of the service team and vice versa. So from an admin perspective, you do have the ability to filter that out and only show the data or only show the pertinent cues that are viable to that particular team. Now, as a supervisor, I have the ability to see, again, all of my queues, and I can see the agents that are available. I can see current wait times, but I can also quickly adjust agent information or queue or modify the way that calls are rolling through my queue. Just to show you a quick example here, if I go in and edit agent, I can see the agents that are available. I can quickly add an agent, but I can also modify some agent settings. So if I go in here and edit this agent, I have the ability to set them online or offline. I can modify their wrap-up time. Their wrap-up time is essentially when a call ends, how much time does that agent have to update the notes and finish up what they're doing before the next call is offered. To kind of delve into this one a little bit, depending on the deployment, like if you actually are scaling up to a CX full omni-channel platform, a lot of those tools come now with some AI automation that will automatically summarize notes and things like that, speeding up this process. So depending on what your need is, maybe wrap-up time isn't something that you would need to focus on, but having the flexibility of setting this and giving that agent breathing space is a huge benefit. Max simultaneous calls, depending on your situation, we have a service team. Those techs are taking calls. We want them to focus on one customer, one call. We don't want them to be burdened with additional calls that are being offered to them while they're in the middle of a call. But let's say that this is a receptionist group, and those receptionists' job is to take those inbound calls, mitigate where they need to go, and route them so they can handle a little bit more call volume. Max SMS sessions, as I mentioned, this solution will allow you to do SMS communication. We have a few customers that are utilizing this where, hey, call our main number or you can text us. And if a call comes in or a text comes in, it goes into a queue. Agent will take that interaction and chat back and forth with that potential customer. Adding the additional channel of SMS is huge because again, we have busy lives, right? And a lot of time I don't always have a moment to stop and hop on the phone, or maybe I'm in a busy environment and I'd rather just chat with somebody. So adding that flexibility is huge. But on an agent level, I can set specific parameters saying this is how many chats I can handle at once, this is how many calls I can handle at once. And then you have queue priority. Queue priority is kind of like skill-based routing, but essentially what I can do is say, you know, I have a group of 10 people. Out of this group, 8 of these people are tenured and they're really well versed in the product. But I have two newbies, 2 people that are quite green. So depending on the ring type of your call queue, these calls can come in. I can ensure that they're going to be offered to my 8 people who are tenured first. If they're all busy, then I can route it to the agents that are a little bit less tenured. For the customer, that gives me the ability to ensure that they're going to get to somebody who is probably more efficient and more knowledgeable. But to prevent them from ending up in long hold times or wait times, I can then offer to them to the less tenured agents. They're still getting that service, they're still getting the customer experience, but it allows me to have a little bit more control on how those calls are added and bring up my agent in the same time, or it gives them a little bit more buffer, a little bit more time to learn. On top of being able to modify your agents within the queue, you can edit queue settings. So with this, you'll see that you have your basic settings. You can separate by department or site. Department is really important. Just a kind of an idea of what that would look like. Let's say that we had a very large billing team, and within this billing team, maybe you had accounts payable, maybe you had collections, and maybe a different type of flavor of billing. If I'm running reports or analytics, I might want to look at a queue level because each one, accounts payable or collections, those are separate queues, but they're all defined as billing or as a billing department. So I can look at my analytics from a department level that includes all of these queues, or I can look at them individually. So setting the department is important, as well as site. Because this is a cloud-based platform, bringing up another site is very, very simple. Again, you don't have the logistics of having to have different pieces of hardware, public IP addresses, and router configurations, and it really helps reduce overhead of IT support. Below that, you have your ring types. I won't break down all of these, but just to kind of give you an idea, round robin logis idle, this is usually quite a very popular option. With this solution, it allows calls to come into that queue and rotate around your agents in a predefined order. However, it is going to offer the call to the agent who has been without a call the longest. That is A, ensuring that your customer is going to get somebody quickly, but B, making sure that your agent's time is being used effectively and they're not just sitting around while one person is taking the lion's share of the calls. You have tiered round robin. This allows you to stagger how those calls will disperse between a couple of different agents. And then you have something like Ring All. To be honest, if you're trying to build a call center or trying to get analytics, Ring All is the absolute worst option that you can have. Great if this is a bullpen for a sales team and it's first come, first serve. But if you're truly trying to see average hold times and agent, handle times and rates and things along those lines, Ring All isn't really a fair way to gauge that. But then again, you have linear hunt, linear cascade. This allows you to transition those calls and drop them through. You also have the ability to record calls and look at statistics. I mean, honestly, you may want to turn this off, but this does give you the ability to ensure that these are all captured. But also to the point of recording calls, there's a couple of different ways to look at this, but essentially recording all calls in the queue is one thing. But with the UCaaS platform, you also have the ability to record direct calls as well. So if you're trying to record calls of your entire organization or just within the queue, this is an important setting. Next, you'll see that you have pre-queue options. Pre-queue options allow you to set parameters or rules for calls before they're actually entered or offered to a queue. Things such as require agents. If there's no agents logged into the queue, let's send this somewhere else. I don't want to send my call into a queue that's just going to sit there for 60 seconds and then the customer's going to hang up or end up in voicemail. Require music on hold. This is great in some organizations. Ours, for example, let's say that there's a very, very large ISP outage and we have a lot of customers that might be experiencing some issues. When a call comes into a particular queue, let's say it's tech support, I can amend or put a message at the very beginning that says, hey, by the way, we are aware of this outage. Please be aware. Please stay on the line to speak to a next rep unless you feel that you're attached to this. Or even perhaps a seasonal message. Maybe you have some special promotions or deals. You can drop a 10 to 15% second hold music there. Below that, you can have your max expected wait time or max queue length. So again, before that call actually gets offered or enters into a queue, if you're exceeding, let's say it's 1 minute and 50 seconds. After that, I want to send my calls elsewhere, or I've already got 5 people waiting in line. I can send that call elsewhere. This could be a failover group. This could be a secondary backup team, or even it could just be a voicemail if you want. But you also have the ability to allow a callback. This is a really, really big one, and it's adopted by a lot of customers who utilize this. When a call comes into a queue, maybe you do have high wait times. Maybe you don't have the manpower that you need to answer all those calls real time, or you have some peak times. Having the ability to set up a queue callback is huge. Now, the timer for queue callback is actually set off your queue options. So again, pre-queue options, if all of these are green and everything's good, the call will enter the queue. And then from here, you're going to set a couple of different options as well, such as your queue ring timeout. This is how long this call is going to orbit or live within this call queue. So if you set it for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, depending on that timer, you can then set an additional failover. Right? So if I want to, now that the call's in queue and it's not getting answered, I want to send this to a different location, to a different voicemail, or a different group, or maybe I could set the queue callback for 30 seconds, and as my caller is sitting in the queue after 30 seconds, they're offered that option. This one in particular is round robin longest idle. So again, this is the round robin longest idle. And if I look at in queue options, this says that I'm going to allow this call to live or orbit within this call queue for 30 seconds, and then allows the agent ring timeout of 15 seconds. So it's going to offer that agent the call. It's going to ring on one agent for 3 rings, and then after that, it's just going to roll to the next agent. You then have features like logout agent on missed call. This is great, again, for, depending on your team, if you have a sales group or something, if an agent gets up, walks away from their desk and forgets to log out, if they're offered one call and they don't interact with it or do anything, it'll automatically log that agent out, ensuring that the next call that comes through isn't offered to an empty seat. And then you can set up things such as enabling voicemail. So this really gives you the flexibility to not only manage how your agents are going to interact with the calls within your queue and how many calls they might have or what their wrap-up times are, but it also gives you the flexibility of modifying each and every queue that you have, and based on analytics that we'll look at next, will help you determine how maybe you should handle the volume within those queues. Every call may not have the same volume, so it's important to be able to not only see those analytics, but to have tools in place that allow you to mitigate or kind of cool the flow of how those calls are going through. Below that here, you'll see active calls graph. This kind of gives you the last 8-hour snapshot. This is great for at a glance, but the real-time reporting, which I'll show you in a minute, I think is a lot more beneficial and has much broader detail than what we see here. Moving over to the agents panel. So this is my demo system, so I don't have a lot of agents logged in right now. But as a supervisor, I am able to see what agents are currently logged in, and I can see if they are online. As a supervisor, I can quickly look at some stats for this particular agent. So if I just click here, I can see the same thing that they're seeing. I can see the performance of my agent for that particular day to give me an idea. Are they meeting their metrics? Is there anything that I need to coach? Are they within our normal standards that we require? I also have the flexibility here to look at their queues. So when I click here, I have the ability to see what queues that they're involved in. I can adjust their priority. And again, I can put them online or offline quickly. And then lastly, I have the ability, and I can't really do it right now because I'm on a call, but This is where the live monitoring comes in. So as a supervisor, I have the ability to see an agent that's on a call. And from here, I would have the ability to do either a whisper, a listen, or a barge. And a whisper, essentially, I've never been a big fan of it. But let's say an agent and a customer are having a conversation, and I want to tell them to say a particular word, or maybe something as simple as, hey, ask for the sale, right? To maybe close the deal. So I can select whisper. It allows me to say something to that particular agent where they can hear it and maybe ask for that sale. That does tend to kind of throw people off a little bit. So not really my favorite of all of those. Next, you would have the ability to listen. Listen gives you the ability to listen to that call live and listen to what's going on and provide real-time coaching. Or even if you're just doing a standard call monitor, most organizations within a call center industry would have a form that you would fill out, and that form might say, agent opened the call correctly, agent closed the call correctly. With our team, did they provide the customer the ticket number? Grab a sip here. And lastly, you would have the ability to barge. And barge essentially is where maybe a supervisor or an agent says, hey, I need a supervisor over here. And instead of actually transferring the call to the supervisor can actually barge into that call. The agent can stay on the call. The supervisor can speak with the customer, de-escalate the situation, and then maybe hand that back to an agent. Above that here, you have a overall health check of all the queues. So in reports and analytics, you can break it down a little bit more granularly, but this is every queue that I have, and it tells me the health of what's going on. But this is also something that I can modify. So maybe my SLAs are different. Maybe my service level requirements are different. So here you can see, some green, some yellow, some red. This really is determined by the parameters or SLA, so to speak, that I have set. If I go in here to grid settings, I have the ability to go in here and look at the thresholds for each one of these. So maybe I don't want to see abandoned calls. Most places would. If I uncheck this, or even if I uncheck call volume, you'll see that it omits it now from this little window or this little widget. So at a glance, I can quickly see, are we hitting our standard thresholds for all of our calls? Are we breaching some thresholds? And if we are breaching those thresholds, I can change the colors or things along those lines. All right, moving on from there, I'm going to jump up here to reports real quick. All right. As I mentioned, analytics. This is super important. Standard systems without any type of a call center seat, whether it be call center agent or supervisor, you're just looking at some very basic call records, and you can't really get a lot of information out of that. With this type of reporting, I can start at a couple of different levels. I can look at a queue level, I can look at an agent level, and then I can peek at that agent availability. So with the queue stats here, I can see my queues. I can look at my call volumes. I can look at my calls handled. I can see calls that terminated into voicemail. So it gives me a much better visibility onto what is occurring per queue. Because you want to look at it from the queue level. Are all of the calls that are coming into this queue getting answered? Yes or no? And if they're not, then why? Then you can drill down onto an agent level, or maybe look at your peak call volume to see where that friction might occur. Additionally, this is customizable. So if I go in here to my columns, I have the ability to adjust this. I can add or omit. Let's say I wanted to take away average talk time, just uncheck that, and it would disappear out of the columns. So it gives you the freedom and flexibility to see what you want. And I can also drill down on these. So click here on calls handled. It would show me all the calls that came in, the time that it was in the queue, who answered that call, and maybe the agent time. So there's a lot of information that you can see. Moving over to agent stats. So this gives you the ability to look at all the agents within either a particular department or maybe just a queue. So as I mentioned, maybe you have a billing team with separate queues. I want to gauge all of these individuals by maybe just my call center. So it will only show me the agents within that group. And then I can drill it down even further into support. So it gives me that flexibility to look at CC agent, how they're doing. I can look at their call handle, their total talk time, and then further data that would give you better visibility into how that team's operating. Moving on from there, we have our agent availability. And again, this gives you the flexibility to see what's going on with my agents. Are they on break? Are they on lunch? Are they in a meeting? Are they taking a lot of unscheduled time? And if you look down here, just go to the 18th. So down here, you can actually drill down specifically on unavailable time. How much time did they spend on lunch? How much time did they spend on breaks? And then any custom groups that you might have. So again, when you're trying to ensure that your agents are adhering to their schedule and that they're using their time effectively as they are logged in, this is a great way to gauge that. Looking over here at dialed number stats as well. This will actually give you a per number breakdown of how those calls are coming in. And a way that I like to really describe this one is, let's say that you're doing, some organizations might do a marketing campaign. We have one customer in particular that is in the mortgage industry. We have several in the mortgage industry, but they do a ton of radio ads across the country. And initially, when they were doing these radio ads, they were sending out campaigns in three different fashions. They did a paper campaign, they did a Google campaign, and then they did a radio campaign. And each one of these campaigns had its own unique telephone number. So depending on the market that they were in, they could actually break down and see the calls that were coming in on what particular campaign. Was it the paper campaign that did great? Was it the Google campaign? Or is the radio ad working better in this particular market? So it gives you a lot of flexibility to see what's going on with your call volumes and just a different use case entirely on how this data can be looked at. And then lastly, you have abandoned calls. And this is really broken down into any call that comes into the phone system that doesn't experience a talking event. Talking event would either be a voicemail or an agent answers. This would be any call that the caller called in, waited on hold, and then hung up. Again, a very, very important feature or a very important piece to be able to see of what maybe I missed a sale or missed an opportunity. And some organizations will actually go into this report every day and call back through these numbers to make sure that they're not missing an opportunity, or maybe a customer was looking for some help and to be proactive in that regard. So that's a historical reporting. Now, again, we have other pieces that'll bolt on. So if what's in there doesn't meet your needs and you need something more customizable, we have that. But I did want to show you the real-time reports. So these are the wall boards, and these are the boards that allow you to see exactly what's going on within your call center at that very moment. Try and call through again. So from here, I can look at the call volume of my main group. I can look at average wait times. I can look at calls waiting or our service level and the agents that are available within that group. So this one's actually receiving a call in a different queue. Let me try this again. So this one is particular CC main. Now each one of these cards is customizable and you can change threshold. So I just threw a call through and you can see here that my max caller waiting turned to red. Each one of these cards is something that I can manipulate the data. So if I go in here and I edit this, you'll see that I can look at, this is a stat that I want to look at. I want to report, or I want to display the calls that are waiting in this particular queue. And then I want to set an alert. So anytime calls are above 0 or maybe calls are above 5, I can change that card into a different color, essentially give me a visual indication of maybe breaching a time frame that I usually would like, or something along those lines. Other cards provide different data. So this one, for example, if I go in here, I can look at maybe the type. I want it rolling, or maybe I want some static data, or maybe I want daily data. This will let me know how many calls are they answering today. What's the inbound attempt, inbound answered. And again, all of this is at a glance. So if I go in here and I edit these columns, I can also change the information that I see. So whatever's important to your team and your organization, You can make this highly customizable to not only better gauge what's going on with your team, but also ensure that you're meeting your customers' expectations and handling calls quickly. Uh, you could do this on just a queue level. So we have CC main here, but I can do a call center overview. So maybe you're a call center manager and you want to be able to see all of this information quickly over a month or over a week. Having these real-time wallboards is quite beneficial. You can also share these. So if I wanted to share these within specific groups or anybody in the organization, and let's say if I just wanted to share this to call center supervisors, call center agents, or even specific departments, it's a great tool to use whether you're remote or in the office. All right, let me go ahead and end this. Did want to talk real quick about CRM integrations. Back over here. All right. Come on. There we go. I just wanted to go over one of the wins that we did have with just the professional contact center itself. So we had a particular mortgage company that came to us and they said, hey, listen, here's the challenge that we have. We are growing very quickly. We're adding agents to our team. However, all of our agents are making manual outbound calls. They have a metric of 40 calls that they want to make a day outbound to potentially new business. But whenever they're making those outbound calls or even speaking with existing business, when they're done with that call, they then have to manually update all of that information within Salesforce during every call. So they're manually dialing out their list of business, and they have to manually input all of that information. They have to pull up Salesforce, they have to look up the contact information and push that over. So they were looking for some automation. They wanted to automate the outbound calls, but they also wanted to track the calls that were being made, not only within Salesforce, leaving a footprint of that call, but they needed some real-time analytics. The owner of that particular organization wanted to be able to see, how many calls a day were my agents reaching. If my expectation or my requirement is that you're hitting 40 calls a day, then I want to see where you're at throughout the day. If I look over at 3 p.m. and they're still only at 25 calls, what's going on? And as a manager or leadership can go over, get with that particular individual and say, hey, where are your roadblocks today? Or maybe it's a great day and this guy's closed 12 deals, right? So, it really gives you some flexibility on what to see. And what we did for them, I'll bring that over here just to give you a quick idea. Pull this back up. As I mentioned with CRM integrations, this was a huge piece. So first of all, we do live natively within Salesforce. So down here in the Salesforce client, we have our dialer. This dialer essentially will allow you to make outbound calls or receive those inbound calls. From here, I can log in and out of particular queues, or I can go online and offline. So a couple of things are accomplished here is anytime that, let's say we make an outbound call, and the individual will answer, it will pop that contact information. So it allows an agent to be able to see who they're talking to quickly and also update any particular notes. And then when the call ends, I can associate this, in this particular case, into a case or opportunity. Within Salesforce, they call that objects. I can enter in some disposition. I can either do this manually or I can map this over to a pre-built disposition within the system, and then I can enter notes. Once I've completed that and I hit submit, in this particular situation, I now automatically have these opportunities or cases, or the activity is automatically logged. So every communication that I have is automatically logged within the system. Now, lastly, they wanted to automate those outbound calls. So here I actually have dialer tasks. What we did is we also integrated another solution that we have called Alert Blast. And what that allowed them to do is a supervisor would upload a list every day. The the agents would come to their supervisor, say, here's my list. That supervisor would upload that list into our alert blast system. And those agents had the ability to then toggle a switch. When they toggled that switch, it would start dialing through that list that was uploaded. Simple Excel list with a list of names and telephone numbers. And when they turned this on, the calls would go out when those individuals would answer. Contact information would pop within Salesforce. They'd have their conversation, end the call, and all of that would be logged and automated. And then to tie that back to real-time reporting, the wallboards and the analytics that I was showing previously, supervisors had the ability to go in and look at their particular team and make sure how many outbound calls did they have for the day, how many inbound calls, what's their average talk time. If I have an agent who's made 100 outbound calls, but their average outbound talk time is 15 seconds, they're going through the motion. They're not really trying to have that conversation with the customer. So it gives you a better visibility on behaviors as well. All right. Let me go ahead and get ready to close this out, but I did want to cover what a transition looks like. So we talked a lot about the professional call center and some of the flexibility and tools that it brings to the table. Again, you have the ability to adjust how your calls come in, how your agent interact with that, and then it gives you a lot of analytical information, and then CRM integration. So any organization that might be moving from maybe an existing CCaaS provider that doesn't have all of those tools or whistles, and or maybe you don't have any of this and you're looking to grow into this space. With our team, or what you should expect anywhere, is that when you start making a decision like this and move into it, initially there's going to be an assessment phase. We like to look at the infrastructure. We like to evaluate what your communication needs are, what tools are you going to use, what is a best fit for your organization. Once that's kind of been hashed out, from there it moves into the planning phase. Within the planning phase, essentially, you're going to develop your SOP or your scope of work, where our engineers will work with your team or our project team to define exactly what a successful implementation would look like, and then we'd move on to deployment. During deployment, it runs in line with training and support. Our projects and training team will be there with you to train your staff and your team on how to use the new tools and solutions. Installations team will be there to test everything out, as well as if we're moving numbers or porting numbers. OneCloud is a registered carrier with the FCC. We have a Class 5 switch, which makes us a carrier. So moving those numbers over is something that we do all the time, and we try to line that up with the go live date. And then with the training and support, we do offer both remote and on-site training. I'm privy to the on-site training. I feel that it's most effective. It really depends on your organization. And then lastly, fast tracking deployment. We offer a lot of different solutions. I highly suggest you stop by onecloud.com and look at the products and solutions that we offer. We can fast track the deployment if maybe you have a down analog line, or maybe your call center crashed. I can say we recently helped a very large municipality. Their entire contact center was wiped out, and we were able to get them back up and running in less than 24 hours, which was a huge deal and could have been a media nightmare. So having that flexibility was a nice way to be able to handle that manpower. But with that said, that's what I got for you today. I do want to open this up if you got any questions or anything that you'd like to add. If you want to, at the bottom of your screen there, you'll have a little hand. You click that little hand and raise your hand, and one of our admins will unmute you and let you answer or ask your question, or feel free to email me with any of your questions, and I'll be happy to help. So go ahead and open this up if anybody's got anything they'd like to ask. Should be good there, Curtis. Make sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to say you did an awesome job, Ben. Thanks for doing this. Anyone from outside of our organization, if you have any questions or you need anything, feel free to reach out to myself, Curtis Heffelfinger, or any one of the sales folks. If you're an individual that's part of the alternate channels world, channel partner or referral partner, if you're headed to channel partners in Las Vegas, we'll be there. So if you want to sync up with us, let us know. We'd love to talk to you, but I just wanted to say thanks to Ben and Katie and Todd for putting this together. Pretty awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate it. All right. If there's no further questions, as I mentioned, we will be sending out a follow-up. If you did have to drop early, we will be following up and sending you a little bit more. But thank you again for taking your time and being with us today. We do look forward to some additional webinars. Next Wednesday should be an integrations webinar with our product manager, Roy. So it's going to give us more of a deep dive into what integrations are and customization of them. So thank you again for joining us today, and have a great day.